Welcome to Tia's Table, where we talk about making fitness and wellness doable for busy women like you and me. Looking for healthy meal ideas, workout motivation, and good conversation? Don't worry, I got you, girl. Sit back, grab a snack, and let's have some girl talk. Hey girl, hey, welcome back to another episode of Tia's Table. I'm Tia, a certified group fitness instructor and nutrition coach. I help women develop healthy habits that align with their health, wellness, and fitness goals. Right now, I'm hosting a 75 Hard Challenge in the app that was solely created for the community and the sisterhood that we've built here, and it is going fabulously. We're only on day 2, but girl, it's going well. If you or if someone you know is interested in joining our next fitness challenge, you can email me at tiavfitness@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram at tiavfitness because girl, I would love to have you join us for the next round. You know, I had some people reach out to me after the challenge already started, and I felt so bad telling people that it's already started. The challenge is actually full, so I really can't even host any more people in there. Like, I only set it up for 10 people because I wanted it to be a relatively small, like, intimate group. And now I'm thinking that maybe I should have done like 15 people. But the way my app works, once I create a challenge or once I've done it, like, I can't go back and edit it without deleting everybody out and starting over. And like, girl, I couldn't do that to the people that were already signed up. But anyway, we'll be having more challenges soon, so stay tuned. The 75 Hard Challenge ends on September 28th. So if you're interested in doing the next one, be on the lookout for announcements about that towards the end of September. We'll have to have a nice little chat about the next 75 Hard because I know how everybody is about the holiday season, and I have thoughts and feelings about it, and we can talk about that on another call when we get closer to it, girl, because we got a lot to cover today, and I want to make sure we get through it. I'm almost at a place with this podcast where I'm going to have to go to the platform that hosts the podcast and tell them, like, hey, I think I'm at that point in my podcast career. Let's go ahead and throw that out there where I need more time. Like, I'm probably going to have to start paying them for more airtime, which is fine because y'all actually listen to this. But I know these episodes are starting to trend at about an hour and a half per episode. So girl, sit back, grab a snack. What do I say? What does Happy Me say at the beginning of these calls? Sit back, grab a snack, and let's have some girl talk. Or girl, run your errands and listen to me in the car because I know that's what y'all be doing. Let's start with what is on my table right now. And to be honest with you, since I'm doing 75 Hard, there isn't much to brag about on my table. Not really, not at all. I've been eating salmon, egg whites, kale, like all the things, right? And it's not really what I'm eating that I want to talk about today. It's how I'm eating it is what I want to talk about for this segment of Tia's Table. So we've talked about nutrition in great detail before. So please go back and listen to a lot of those episodes that are in seasons like 1 and 2, right? What I want to talk about is knowing something and then the application of what you know, right? As I say at the beginning of all these calls, I'm a certified nutrition coach, which means I spent a great deal of my time for like a little over a year in class learning the science behind nutrition. So the science behind nutrition, I absolutely understand. Like, I get it. If you wanted to take a test on it right now, you could give me an exam on the science of nutrition and I would probably pass it because I know what I read in the textbook and I studied it. Taking that information and then actually applying it to a human being, two completely different things, right? Because as we know, you might have the information, you might know the math and the science of something, but then when you actually apply it to a person, you're like, why isn't the math mathing or the science sciencing? And that's what has happened to me. Like, I've been using myself as a subject matter, and I've been trying to determine where it is wrong that I had been going with food. Because as we know, like I eat relatively clean. I follow somewhat of an 80 to 90, 10 to 20 style of eating, depending on what week it is and what's on the meal plan. That tends to like shift it closer to the 80 or the 90. But the fact of the matter is that I eat relatively clean. And I still just wasn't understanding why I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to see, because I'm like, I'm eating all the things. Like I'm this close. I was about to be like this close to being like, forget all of this. I'ma just do me, and we'll see how things end up as I continue to age. But, one day I was on TikTok and I'm scrolling and I'm looking at things, and TikTok was pretty fascinated with this food scale. This food scale that as you weigh your food, it tells you the calories, it tells you how much fat is in something, the fiber, the protein, the carbs. Like for each individual thing that you weigh, you get to see the macros in real time of that particular food item, right? And I was like, oh, man, that piques my interest on a very high level, because number one, I'm just fascinated at the fact that scale works in that way. But then number two, I'm like, people could learn a lot from this. If you are someone that wants to track your food, if you have an interest in tracking what you eat for any reason, the scale, could possibly be something that would be very beneficial to you, right? So I said to myself, well, I have always tracked my food in some type of app, be it MyFitnessPal, at one point it was my personal trainer's app, then my own app, like when I was like testing the app, I was using it just to make sure that it worked. So I have tracked my food in like several kinds of apps, but I would have to say that I'm not sure how accurate it was, right? Because we are basing things off of either like the nutrition labels, or we're like eyeballing things. I actually had a food scale prior to the one that I have now, made by the same company. And this is ultimately what led me to go ahead and try it, because I'm like, well, I have their other like baby scale. Maybe I should get the grown-up scale and see like if she's really hitting for what people say. And to be honest, I always felt like the little baby scale wasn't all that accurate. And I say this because you know how you put a bowl or whatever on your scale, then you tender it out at 0 so that you can now weigh like your food. I would use the same bowl to weigh out my things, and the scale would always have that bowl at a different weight. But I'm like, it's the same bowl. So I always kind of felt like the numbers could have been off, but not enough for it to like mean anything. It just wasn't accurate, or as accurate as it probably could be. So I order this new scale. It comes. I'm super excited about it. I download the free app that comes with it. And when I mean to tell y'all, it has changed how I'm eating. It has changed how I'm eating. Now, my numbers are still the same, right? So my caloric intake is the same. My macros are the same. All that stuff, it didn't change any of that. But it definitely changed how my plates look. And if you remember on these calls before, I talked about how my personal trainer had me eating like these 9-ounce plates or 10-ounce plates, and it was this or it was that. It's meet your macros, meet your calories, and all of that can be very confusing for anybody. And when you take into account that like I work in the fitness industry for a living, it was confusing to me, because I'm like, which one is it? Are we doing the ounces, or are we doing the calories and macros? Because you cannot serve two masters, right? You can't. So you're going to have to pick one and then stick with it. I decided that I would do the numbers, right? Do the calories and the macros, and not worry so much about how much my total plate weighed at the end of all of that, right? So as I'm plating my food and I'm, looking for things to eat, like whatever, I'm weighing each and every individual item out. And when I mean to tell y'all, it's not that I was eating anything bad, But in some cases, I was overeating on healthy foods, and I don't care. Unless it is like a leafy green vegetable, you can overeat on healthy food and your body will still store it as fat, right? That's why, regardless of what type of program or whatever you're following or you're doing, it gives you a max. So like for me, my max amount of calories every day is like 1,650, right? Which is more than enough. Some days it don't feel like it, but it's more than enough. And my macros are what they are. I don't really know them off the top of my head. I think my protein is like 129, if I'm not mistaken. And my carbs might be 165 a day. And then my fats, I think, are like 55. So maybe I do know them off the top of my head. But so I'm weighing out the food as I go, which means previously, let's use a salad for an example, since I eat a lot of those. No, let's start at the beginning of the day. So before, every day, y'all know I eat like eggs or salmon with some type of veggie or whatever. Y'all know my breakfast is like super reasonable, not anything crazy, not anything over the top, and it's pretty much the same every day. So breakfast is fine. Breakfast is not my danger zone. It is not what led me to the realization that I was doing things all wrong. Breakfast was fine. Lunch, y'all. And we know I eat a lot of salads, right? And my salads don't even be like them salads you see on social media where we make fun of them. Like where we're like, oh, I'm gonna have a healthy salad. And then it's like a million different things on it. No. Y'all have seen my salads. Y'all know that that's not what they were. My salads were literally leafy greens, a protein, maybe some boiled egg, cucumbers, tomato, maybe some onion, and maybe some edamame, right? There's nothing there. Every now and again, you might see me have like chickpeas or a little small scoop of like a pasta salad or whatever, but we know that's not the norm and that's the exception to my salad bowl. I have been tracking the salad situation using that scale. And when I mean to tell you, first of all, let's start with the base of the salad. I wasn't putting nearly enough leafy greens in my bowls. And I know when people take pictures for social media, I know my salads might look big in those pictures, but really it's probably the angle. Because no, like they were not what they should have been. So first of all, I wasn't eating enough leafy greens. Like the foundation of my salad, it wasn't enough. So that was the first thing I was doing wrong, is that I was doing my salad backwards. So I would normally have a lot of toppings. Like I would have a lot of cucumber, a lot of tomato. I would have a chicken breast. Like I would have a lot of the stuff that went on the top of my salad. But my salad bed in and of itself, the leafy greens, which are so important for like fiber, so important for the benefits that come with eating leafy greens. I just wasn't doing enough of that, right? So I was able to double the amount of leafy greens in my salad. Then I started weighing out the individual toppings, realizing that I was using way too much of those. Way too much. So I was able to kind of tweak that, and I have been doing maybe like an ounce of everything or like 2 ounces of everything instead of just mindlessly cutting up vegetables and throwing it in, because I'm saying to myself, vegetables don't carry that many calories, so it really doesn't matter how much of it I put on this. Yes, it actually does. It matters, right? So I'm weighing out the individual things. I'm putting those on my salad, right? I measured out my edamame, and then this is where things start to take a turn, right? Because something is good for you, you feel like you can kind of just put it on there and not worry about it, when really, like, it's like, no. So the other day, for the purpose of today's call, I made a salad the way that I would want to, right? I made that salad the way that I would want to, but with the new additional leafy greens, right? I used the salad dressing that I wanted to use. That lunch ended up being like 700 calories, which is not a lot by any means. But when you take into account that I only get 1,650 a day, I had already eaten breakfast, lunch. This was a big number suck on the on this lunch. Once I was done with lunch, I think I had like 300 calories left for the rest of the day, which is not a lot, right? So when we look at my salad situation, I was definitely putting way too much protein on it. So I was able to use like half of a chicken breast instead of using the whole. I was able to get my toppings down to like more of like a reasonable amount, which means that I am eating like more of a balanced plate. And keep in mind, before this, I probably would not have even had carbs with this lunch, which means I was missing out on an opportunity to get that energy source in. So like yesterday, I had my salad with a serving of that. I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you shop at Kroger, you probably have. It's a quinoa blend of like other whole grains, but it's seasoned with like black pepper and like it's flaxseed in it. It's quinoa. It might have brown rice. I would have to take a picture of it and post it to social, and I'll try to remember to do that. I know these calls happen and then like the aftermath, and then sometimes people miss the stories, but it's that. And it's by Simple Truth Organic. Simple Truth Organic has a quinoa, flaxseed, black pepper, grain mix that you just pop into the microwave for like 90 seconds. And it's really, really yummy. It cooks up like really well. But I had that with my salad, and that meal felt way more well-rounded than the salads that I used to eat, even with like less of the stuff. And like I said, I actually ate the dressing that I wanted to eat, which was that, what is that? That ultimate ranch, or like the deluxe ranch that Kraft just made. That ranch is really good. But I even weighed that out to make sure that I'm eating like exactly what's on the nutrition label. And that too has been very fascinating to see. So I'll look at the nutrition label on whatever it is I'm eating. Let's take the quinoa mix thing, for example. And it'll say like, oh, this much. Let's say I think they say a serving is a cup, if I'm not mistaken. A serving is a cup, and 1 cup should equal 240 calories. The protein should be this. The carbs should be like 44 grams of carbs. The protein, I think, on that is like 9 grams. And so what I have been doing is looking at the food labels, weighing out the food to see if my scale says what the nutrition label says. And if the two of those things match up and the measurement is right, I'm like, okay, so this is what I'll consider to be a safe food, because I know I no longer have to weigh this. If I eat a cup of this grain mix, it is what it says it is. It is 240 calories. It is 9 grams of protein. It is 44 grams of carbs. And that's good for me to just know off the top of my head whenever I'm in like a food emergency, or I'm just bored, or I'm just too lazy to cook or whatever. I know, Tia, if you eat this with half of a chicken breast and whatever, that equals these numbers, right? And that is where I'm at right now at Tia's table. I'm in a place where I'm learning what my safe foods are. I'm learning how to eat them. I'm learning how to get my numbers in without it being like something that's stressful to me, because previously it had been really stressful trying to navigate and figure it out. And that scale has completely eliminated that stress for me. For example, in the mornings, I am trying to eat like a protein heavy breakfast in the morning so that I'm not stressed about getting all of that in like all day long, right? Because I know I'm probably going to eat 3 meals and a snack. So my breakfast, I've been having like a fillet of salmon, which has been weighing out anywhere between 4 and 5 ounces. I've been having a cup of egg whites, and I did go ahead and break down and just buy the liquid egg whites. I don't like the whole idea of liquid egg whites. Number one, I don't like it. Number two, why do they cost so much? Number three, you kind of need so many of them that I feel like somewhere in here it is a scam, because if I needed to eat that many egg whites and I was going to actually crack eggs to do it, I feel like I would be wasting so many eggs to get the same amount of egg whites. But that's neither here nor there, because I've been buying the Bob Evans egg whites and using them. I eat a cup of those, and I've been making an omelet with it. This morning I had a kale, and I've been getting these alfalfa sprouts from Kroger too. So I had a kale and alfalfa sprout white egg omelet with the salmon and a banana, because I need the carbs in there too. And that breakfast was 56 grams of protein, which is great for me, because that's pretty much almost half of my protein intake for the day, which means for the rest of the day, I don't have to be pressed about it. I'm more pressed about getting in all of those carbs, because it's 165 grams of those every day. And I have been getting very close to it. I have not hit 165 yet, but I don't really stress myself out about that either, because I'm it doesn't have to be perfect. You just got to be in the ballpark. And I've been in the ballpark every day. And I want to make sure I'm staying under my fats, which I have been able to do. And I know it's from the scale. I know it is, because I'm able to see on the digital screen that comes on the scale as I'm weighing stuff. I'm able to see exactly what I'm getting. And I love the fact now that I can also see how much fiber I'm getting in every time I sit down to eat, because I've been logging and tracking that too, just to make sure that the fiber is there, so that if I am eating all of this protein every day, that I'm not about to have a little protein baby. I don't want to be constipated. I just don't want to be. And the only way to combat that, or to remedy that, is to make sure you're drinking enough water and you are eating enough fiber. And of course, on the 75 hard challenge, which we're going to talk more about in a minute, you got to be drinking a lot of water. So, I'll put the link in the description box to the scale that I'm talking about, so you can check it out for yourself. Because when I mean to tell you, if you cannot tell, when I mean to tell you, I have been fascinated by it. And of course I would be right, because I'm just into this kind of stuff. But when I mean to tell you, it has been a game changer for me. It has been a game changer, because now I know that all of the other stuff that I was doing was just low key me gaslighting myself. Me thinking that I needed a personal trainer, which was not bad. It was, everything serves its purpose. Me taking in all of this nutrition advice from random sources and then trying it. Nothing is ever failure. It's always feedback, and it's always good to try different things, so you know exactly what doesn't work for you. And now that I know that those things don't work, I'm very excited about eating what is supposed to be my numbers, because at the end of the day, I still have to test this out long enough to see what happens. But just based on how my body feels and based on how I feel mentally, I feel much better. I feel at peace with my plates. And that's how we want to be. We want to know that we're eating enough. And we want to know that we're eating enough of the right things, that those plates are balanced and proportioned well, so that we can go out and do all the things. So, like I said, I'll put a link in the description box to the scale so that you can look it up and check it out for yourself. But it has been a game changer for me. Okay, moving right along. I wanted to pick up with the book from the 80s talking about what fitness advice they give. And this particular chapter is about workouts. Now, we got a lot of different things to cover in this call. So if it feels like I'm going through this book really fast, it probably is because I am. I want to make sure I get through as much of their advice as I can before we kind of slide into some other things. So this chapter on physical fitness and working out. It says, "Life is movement," wrote a 19th century European physical training expert. Nearly 100 years ago, he hit close to the truth because physical exercise circulates the most precious ingredient of human life, which is oxygen, in far greater amounts than when the body is sedentary. Why did I highlight that and why did I want to share that with you? Because fat burns in the presence of oxygen. When you are breathing and you're conscious of your breath and you're having to breathe, like when you're exercising, you have to focus on your breath, you have to focus on breathing, and you are taking those deep inhales and those slow exhales, fat is burning while you're doing all of that. So people who live a more sedentary lifestyle don't burn as much fat because their bodies don't require them to use as much oxygen. How effectively your cardiorespiratory system transports oxygen to every tissue of your body is, according to physiologists, the most important measure of your physical fitness. Your cardiorespiratory efficiency is referred to as your aerobic capacity. The easiest way to improve your aerobic capacity is to exercise regularly, at least 30 minutes, 4 to 6 times a week. Exercise also makes you look and feel better, improves the quality of your sleep and play, helps you cope efficiently with stress, and may ward off or even prevent serious diseases. Things we already knew, but I just felt like, girl, it's worth a mention, right? It's a good girlfriend reminder. One of the best measures of your physical fitness is your heart rate, because an efficient heart rate beats more slowly than one that's not fit. A fit person's resting pulse rate is generally in the range of 50 to 65 beats per minute, while an average person's is 72. So if you have a fitness watch, which I know many of us do, I know the Apple Watch allows you to see what your resting heart rate is at any given time. You can just push the heart icon on your screen and it'll show you right then and there, like what your heart rate is, which is pretty cool to do. Like if you're just sitting on the couch watching a movie and there's no reason for your heart rate to be high or be up. Sometimes I'll check mine just to see what it is. And it's always like 53, 54, 50 something, like somewhere between 50 and 55, right? Then sometimes I'll check it when I'm like annoyed or irritated or when I'm out running errands or when I feel like it's super hot the way it's been and I'm just out doing like daily activities and I'll feel worked up. I'll check my heart rate to see what it is. And sure enough, I'll be like, wow, your body is actually working, just doing this day-to-day stuff, either because it's hot or because somebody has gotten on your nerves. Somebody has gotten on your nerves. Your heart rate is up. You need to sit and just take a minute to try to bring your heart rate down because there's no reason for your heart rate to be high coming out of Costco. Nature didn't intend our bodies to be as sedentary as they have become since we changed from an agricultural to an industrial economy in the 20th century. Our bodies were made to move, to work vigorously as we planted, harvested, and gathered food, tended farm animals, chopped and carried firewood, or walked several miles to visit a neighbor. Girl, because none of us are doing any of this. Like the most we do now is go to the grocery store, go to the mall, go to the doctor, go to the dentist, take your kids where they got to be. Like we're not hunting and gathering for anything. In modern life, relatively few physical demands are made on the body, so we must make a conscious effort to exercise to achieve and maintain physical fitness. That is why exercise has become so important to us in the 1980s. It's the only way we can achieve lifetime health, activity, and physical mobility. And I bet you in the 1980s, they probably had no idea what the world was going to turn into because everything now is so instant and digital. In terms of your health and longevity, cardiorespiratory fitness is supremely important when compared to other components of physical fitness, such as strength and flexibility. At least 80% of your physical fitness efforts should eventually be directed toward aerobic activity, which improves cardiorespiratory fitness. You should also seek, however, to achieve a certain level of muscular strength and endurance, as well as muscle and joint flexibility, if you wish to achieve optimum physical fitness and health. So again, some of this stuff we have learned and we've been able to keep living by some of these rules in 2024. We already know you got to be doing both. You got to be strength training at least 3 times a week, and you should be doing cardio activity. I mean, depending on who you talk to, I know everyone has their own opinion, but I'm going to say probably every day. Like when they talk about the 30 minutes 4 to 6 times a week, they are talking about cardio activity. They're talking about going on a walk, going for a jog, going for a run. If you take dance classes or whatever, riding your bike, whatever is cardio to you, that is what they're talking about for 30 minutes, 4 to 6 times a week. Your watchwords as you begin exercising should be slow, progressive, and enjoyable. Always do less exercise at first than you feel you can do, because this will keep you from overdoing it. Pushing too hard and making your muscles sore will turn any type of physical activity into drudgery, which will cause you to quickly abandon your exercise program. So take it easy. And that is so true. When you're new to something, even if you consider yourself to be an advanced person when it comes to working out, right? Anytime you try something new, or anytime you take time off and you're having that re-entry period, always take things low and slow. Do not feel like you got to go all out from the beginning, because that is what I think keeps people from staying committed to their fitness journey, because within those first couple of days, you're sore, you're tired, and that makes you not want to do it. Like it makes you not want to do it. So take things slow and easy, just like they say. Begin small and work up very slowly in all physical activities. Work out at least 4 times weekly. Start with just 10 to 15 minutes of exercise, then gradually increase the time until you reach at least 30 minutes of continuous exercise. It's very important that you should enjoy exercise if it is to become a lasting part of your lifestyle, which takes me back to something else that we've talked about before. Do what you like. Do what you like. I don't care who tells you what you should be doing, because I know I do it. I tell y'all strength train 3 times a week. I literally just said it a second ago. Do cardio. But just because you see me in the gym, it doesn't mean you got to be in the gym. Just because you might see me lifting weights, it doesn't mean you have to lift weights. Just because you see anybody doing anything, it doesn't mean that you have to do it. Because remember, everybody is doing what they feel works for them. Everybody is doing what appeals to them, or simply what they enjoy. You have to find the things that you enjoy. If you enjoy doing Pilates or doing bar or doing yoga, or you are a runner, let's say you like dance fitness, whatever it is, choose those things and just do them consistently. Choose them and do them consistently, and just make sure your food lines up with your level of activity. So then they say, you should choose to do more than one form of exercise. The more variety of physical fitness activities you can include in a regular program of exercise, the greater the interest level over a period of time. And I totally agree with that. So if fitness is something that you want to make your lifestyle, and you really want to be a person that works out every day or at least 5 or 6 times a week, switching it up does help you out a lot, right? Number 1, it makes sure you're not training the same muscles over and over and over again. Number 2, it does help with other areas of fitness that people forget about, like flexibility, like coordination, like endurance and stamina. And whenever you train one muscle, you want to also make sure you're training the muscle that pairs with it, right? So if you're, for example, if you're training biceps, you want to make sure you're training triceps. If you're training your quads, you want to make sure you're training your hamstrings, things like that. You want to be symmetrical, which means that whatever it is that you are choosing to do, make sure it's training your total body. Which means, for example, let's say you like dance fitness and you take Zumba and you go to Zumba every day and you dance for that hour every day. That's great, because that's helping you train your coordination. That's helping you train your agility. That's definitely some good cardiorespiratory training. And it's moving your body, right? You're moving your body in all kinds of different ways. However, a dance class like Zumba may not necessarily train your flexibility. It might not train certain other motor skills that you need just to complete acts of daily living, like you might not squat that much or you might not reach that much. For the most part, when you take dance classes, you're either moving from left to right or from front to back, right? Which means if you like to dance, then I would say take Zumba, but then maybe also take like a mixed fit class or a different style of dance that maybe moves or focuses on other parts of the body. You see what I'm saying? You might want to take a ballroom dance class if you have like a buddy, or like a line dance class, something that maybe will move your body in a different way. That's what they mean. Switch it up, give yourself some variety. So what is aerobic exercise? In terms of energy expenditure, aerobic exercise will cause you little or no physical distress. Aerobic derives from a Greek word meaning with oxygen. So true aerobic exercise is of low intensity and doesn't burn up oxygen quickly enough to make you breathless while you exercise. Aerobic exercise is also normally carried out for at least 30 minutes. This is because scientists have discovered that exercise results in physical fitness most efficiently if the pulse rate is accelerated during a workout to at least 120 to 150 beats per minute and kept there for a minimum of 30 minutes, which so happens to be most people's fat burning zone. That 120 to 150. When you hear people talk about like zone 2, that's typically what it is. Now, people do have a target heart rate that might be higher than the 150, and it's nothing wrong with that as long as your heart rate comes back down the way it's supposed to when you stop moving. And as long as it does that quickly, then like girl, you're good. So try not to focus too much on that. But if you are able to do something like walking is just great. Walking is just great. But if you walk or if you run, you want to try to stay within that threshold for at least 30 minutes. Okay. So then it goes on to talk a little bit more about aerobic exercise and oxygen. And it says aerobic exercise also temporarily elevates the body's metabolism. So you will continue to burn off body fat faster than usual for several hours after you cease aerobic activity, which means, in my opinion, if you start your day with cardio, either on a treadmill, on a bike, if you go for a walk or run outside, like whatever, if you're able to do your cardio at the very top of your day, that means throughout the day, when you're working, when you're cooking or cleaning or watching a movie or reading a book, responding to emails, on a conference call, like girl, whatever you're doing, your body is going to burn more calories than it would have if you had not worked out first thing in the morning, because you've already activated that part of your body. Like your metabolism is working first thing in the morning. How many calories can you actually burn with aerobic exercise? This depends directly on how hard you work to expend energy, which is why we say, like, girl, if you're going to show up, really show up and show out. Don't waste your time by just casually being like, oh, I'm going to just do this. Unless you are it's the evening, right? And you're like, oh, I'm just going to take a stroll after dinner. That's one thing. That is not a workout. That's like, I'm going to take a stroll because I feel like going outside and getting into this really nice weather. The workout, though, is when you are like pumping your arms, speed walking, really exerting some energy, right? Ideally, you should keep your pulse rate at a steady state between 120 and 150 during aerobic exercise. If you push too hard in a workout and allow your heart rate to exceed 150 beats per minute, you will have exceeded your body's aerobic capacity and you will place yourself in what we call oxygen debt, which is something that I talked about a few episodes back when I was training for that race. This is how I knew, because I read this book. This is how I knew that I was running too fast for what I was trying to do. Because I'm like, oh, there's no way I can sustain an elevated heart rate for 6 miles. I'm going to have to learn how to slow myself down, run at a slower pace per mile so that my heart rate stays where I need it to be able to complete the activity that I'm trying to complete, right? So, yes, it says you will have exceeded your body's aerobic capacity and you will place yourself in what we call an oxygen debt. Yeah, got that. By consuming more oxygen than your body can supply, you are exercising anaerobically. the term used to denote strenuous exercise that burns up huge quantities of oxygen. Exercising anaerobically builds up an oxygen debt, a condition in which the body is actually depleted of its normal oxygen stores. Such as an oxygen debt is very painful to endure, and it eventually forces you to slow down the pace of your workout or stop it all together. So when you're thinking about something, and let's say it's your first day either trying to run, or it's your first day lifting weights, or just trying to do anything, exert energy from your body in any way, it is not that, in some cases, I will say, it is not that you can't do it. It is that we need to do what the book says, and it's to start low, start slow, or start with lighter weight. Because it's not that you can't do it. You have just already kind of tapped your body out by trying to start strong in the beginning. Think about somebody who's never done CrossFit or something like CrossFit, and you go to a CrossFit class and they have you training, or like a boot camp or something where you're training in like circuits and you're running from one thing to the next, and you'll see people like, not that they pass out, but you see people that are like full on about to pass out. It's not that those people are out of shape. It's just that they've never done this before, and they don't know their threshold. Like, they don't know their oxygen threshold. And then the book goes on to tell us how many calories we burn per minute doing certain activities. And I just thought this was interesting and kind of funny. So when you're cleaning, they say you burn 4.2 calories a minute. Cooking, 3.5 a minute. Eating, 1.7 a minute. Food shopping, 4.5 per minute. Gardening, 3.8 per minute. Raking leaves, 5.4 per minute. Also, if you are following, you notice some of these are things we don't even do for ourselves anymore. Like, a lot of people just have groceries delivered, or they go pick them up. I know I personally have never raked leaves. Yeah. Cooking, sometimes I feel like, I don't know how accurate that 3.5 calories per minute is, because I'm like, cooking, really? Really? Maybe. I don't know. Dancing, they say disco dancing is 7.5 calories per minute, which is why that Zumba is so good. They have cycling. If you're doing a 5-minute mile, that's 10.6 calories a minute. Jogging, 12.6. Mopping the floor, 4.8. Paddleball, which I am going to equate to the newly popular pickleball, 10.7. Planting seeds, 4.8, something that not a lot of people do anymore. Jump rope, 11.3. Running, if you run a 6-minute mile, they say, like, who is running a 6-minute mile? 16.2 calories per minute. Scrubbing the floors, which I guess is different than mopping, because I guess scrubbing the floors means you're down on all fours scrubbing the floors. 12 calories per minute. Standing quietly, something people don't do nearly enough, 1.7 calories per minute. Sitting quietly is the same, 1.7. Typing, 1.8. And then it says walking. If you walk a 17-minute mile, they say you burn 5.4 calories per minute, which I think is fascinating. Because like I said, a lot of that stuff, we don't do that stuff anymore. A lot of it we don't do anymore. Then the book kind of breaks down different types of exercises that we can all do. They go through walking, jogging and running, bicycling, swimming, racket sports, dancing, skiing, joining a team sport at your local recreation center, jumping rope. But this is what's very interesting about the different ways of working out to me. They say, here is a relatively strenuous program containing 6 to 8 aerobic exercises per week for beginning and intermediate women participants, right? They say that on Monday, you could walk to work or swim 15 to 30 minutes. On Tuesday, you could bike to work or play racquetball. On Wednesday, you could walk to work or run a half mile. On Thursday, you could bike to work or walk a half mile. On Friday, you could walk to work or take a dance class. And on Saturday, you could just ride your bike for 5 to 10 miles or play tennis. And when I was reading their recommended schedule for getting all of this aerobic activity in, I thought about how many people work from home now and how it's very just kind of backwards. Because even in the 1980s, I'm like, in the 80s, people were driving to work. Unless you live in a pedestrian city like New York or Washington, D.C., or maybe like Chicago. I'm trying to think of places that have a metro system. But like, I know when I lived in D.C., I didn't drive to work until, let's keep it a buck. I didn't drive to work until I started making enough money to pay for parking. Okay. Yes, but I didn't drive to work. I took the metro, and I lived in Silver Spring, Maryland, which if you know anything about the DC area, you know that's like just outside of DC. So I would take, I want to say it was the Z10 or the Z11 bus. I can't remember which one. Used to stop in front of my apartment complex, but I would take that bus into the city, and either I would get on another bus and then take that down to the Washington Post, or I would get off and like take a train and blah, blah, blah. Right. But for the most part, because to me, it was easier. Unless it was raining, I did one bus to the next because the bus literally dropped you off like right there. Yeah. But I don't think people are walking and like biking to work all that much anymore unless you live in a city that is pedestrian friendly, that has some type of metro system. Like I know here in Atlanta, there's a metro system and there is a train and there are buses, but the metro system does not go everywhere. Like, for example, in DC, that metro system goes to a lot of the suburbs. Like it goes to a lot of them until it doesn't. And you got to kind of be living way out for the MARTA to be like, or do they call it the MARTA? Or am I getting that confused with Atlanta? Either way, the metro system in DC won't come to you if you are living like way, way out. But if you're living close enough to the city, like, yeah, those buses will come pick you up and then take you to a train station and you can kind of navigate your way from there. Here in Atlanta, the MARTA, the bus system, they will service you if you live in and around like Atlanta. But it's not coming out here where I live at all. Like it's not coming out here. Whereas in a place like DC, you might luck up and live in a suburb and they will still come out there and get you, girl. You don't necessarily have to drive. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting because that's activity that I guess back in the day people had built into their life and their day that we certainly do not have anymore. And then the book goes into stretching and how important stretching is. So hopefully we're all doing that. And then they start talking about muscle strength and how important that is and how we should be training 30 to 40 minutes per day, 3 days a week, which again, so people in 2024 are not making that up. That is a very oldie but goodie, making sure that you are strength training a few days out of the week to make sure that your muscle strength is there. And for women, it helps prevent things like osteoporosis. Like you definitely want to make sure your bone density is healthy and like all that kind of stuff. And that comes directly from lifting weights. You want to make sure that you are not, however, training the same muscle groups back to back. Like you want to have some breaks in there. You don't want to be consecutively training the same muscles because that is where you get sore and that will make you altogether just stop lifting weights. Yeah, I felt like that was pretty interesting, mainly because it is the same advice for the most part that someone would give you today as far as working out goes. So very interesting. We will pick up with the next chapter on our next call. And the next chapter is about stress management and sharing what they thought about managing stress in the 1980s. I think will either be very funny to you all or it'll make all of us go, huh? But then some of their advice is kind of spot on. So we'll go through that next time. I wanted to talk about 75 hard because like I said earlier, me and a group of ladies just started. We're on day 2. I want to talk about what 75 hard is and how it's not as hard as I thought it would be. So let's chat about that. So 75 hard is the fitness program. They say not to call it a challenge, but it's the fitness program that encourages you to work out twice a day for 45 minutes, with one of those workouts being outside. You're to drink a gallon of water a day. You are to read 10 pages of a book, and it's supposed to be a self-help book every day. And you're supposed to take a picture of yourself every day, just so that you can kind of like track and monitor your progress. And then you're supposed to follow whatever eating style you select for yourself. They don't recommend a certain diet or even a diet at all. So you can just do intuitive eating if you want to. You can try being a vegan or a vegetarian. You could do a caloric deficit. You could do whatever you want to do for the food part, but you have to follow some type of food thing. For me, I'm doing the scale. Like I'm living by the scale for the 75 days to see what happens. So far, and like I said, we're only on day 2, but so far, like, girl, it's not even that bad. Like, and maybe that's because I'm used to working out on some level. Now, was I working out 2 times a day for 45 minutes both times? No, I wasn't. I was not. But that just hasn't been as difficult as I thought it was going to be. And not that I thought the workouts themselves would be hard, but I thought making the time would be hard. And what I have learned, especially because it's so hot outside very early in the day, number 1, I've been having to like get up. So I've been setting my alarm clock and getting up. And if I'm outside by 7 and I start walking, then I'm done with my walk at 7:45 or like before 8 o'clock. I have been coming back inside, starting breakfast for everybody, getting that done. And after I serve breakfast and eat my own breakfast, then I go into the basement and do some type of strength training for 45 minutes. Like today I did a bar class that literally chewed me up and spit me out. It was good. Like it was good, like how Pure Barre used to be back in the day. So that hasn't been as hard as I thought it would be. Drinking the 128 ounces of water every day has not been hard, but it has shown me that like, wow, some days my water probably wasn't where it needed to be. As a person who kind of solely only drinks water all day, unless I have coffee or unsweetened tea or like green tea, I just wasn't necessarily tracking my water like that because I'm like, oh, I always have water with me and I drink it all day. And I knew for the most part I was getting at least 66 ounces in a day because I know I drink at least 2 bottles a day. But that 3rd or 4th bottle might have been a little sketchy because maybe I start getting tired. Maybe I'm sitting down at the end of the day and maybe towards the end of the day, I'm just not thinking about it. Right. Or could it be that by the end of the day, I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll have a glass of champagne or ooh, maybe I'll have a glass of red wine or, oh, my husband might be like, oh, I'm going to make you something and let's sit down and chat. He likes to sit on the back porch and like talk. So yeah, he'll be like, oh, let me make you something. I'll meet you on the back porch. So yeah, so that could easily take me away from drinking water. So it has been really nice to kind of focus on that and to make sure I'm getting my 4 liters in every day. And that's how I've been tracking my water with the liter size bottles. So that's been interesting. The reading an actual book, 10 pages every day, I thought that was going to be a big challenge for me because I normally listen to books on Audible. But even so, I mean, and girls, we're only on day 2. Ladies, we're only on day 2. So this is pretty premature of me to be making all these declarations. But on day 2, I haven't even found it that hard to sit down and read 10 pages a day. And that could also be because I'm super just interested in what I'm reading. I'm reading a book about people that work in the fitness industry and how to really create the career that you see for yourself. And I'm only on page like 75, I think. And already that book has like blown my mind. It's got me thinking about what I do in a completely different way, but it has also confirmed a lot of things for me, things that I kind of already felt, but was unsure of how to get there or like what I should be doing and all of that. It's confirmed for me that number one, the career that I see for myself is actually a real job. Like it's not like a fun little hobby. It's actually a real career that people have. So that's great to know and see and read in a book that was written by somebody with a PhD. And then the other part to it is that the book really encourages people to use their unique abilities and whatever your passion is to create or seek out the opportunities that you see for yourself. And it kind of equates that to being happy or finding fulfillment or success in your career. And so for me, I have like based on what I've read in the first 75 pages of this book, I'm like, yeah, the things that I find joy in doing, the things that spark my creative interest, the things that I would actually want to allocate time towards have not necessarily been the things that I've been doing, right? As a fitness professional. I started out teaching fitness classes, and while that was fun and it was great to get to know people and to interact with them on a daily basis, once COVID happened and I wasn't doing that anymore, it's not like I was itching to get back, which is to me a sign that like, ooh, girl, maybe that served its purpose because it definitely gave you a steady paycheck. But, you know, the fact that you're not looking to go back to that, you're not running to anybody's gym to do it, speaks volumes. So that's number one. Number two, I was coaching people one-on-one. And again, while that was like a steady paycheck, and it was great to get to know women, it was great to get to learn from them, learn about them, to help them, to offer them advice and like all of that, I found that, and this is something that I just learned in the book like yesterday, the reason why that probably wasn't the best fit for me was because I am a person that values family time truly above everything. Like to know me, like to really know me, like in real life, like to know me, is to know that like nothing comes before or above what happens in the four walls of this house, right? So if anything ever challenges that or makes me, if I even get like the inkling of like, oh, that's going to take me away from this, or this, like I'll say no, like I won't even do it. I don't ever feel bad about it because I'm like, these children, baby, they come first. So you can get in line behind them. And if I can make it to whatever it is you're talking about, if it doesn't compete with what they got going on, yeah, then I'll come. But I know for a fact now, especially after reading that book, that anything that I do want to do or see for myself career-wise can't come at the cost of me not being a very present figure like in my household. So that put me at peace too, because I'm like, well, I'm not crazy for feeling that way. Because for a long time I thought, well, Tia, in order to be what you want to be or who you want to be, yes, sometimes you'll have to say yes and sacrifice time and like go out there, especially in the beginning, to kind of, the book calls it doing your reps in your career. Like you got to put the reps in, you got to put the time in. But then on the other side of that is that you also have to know what your boundaries are. And it's good to know those on day one so that you don't ever even set yourself up for biting off more than you can chew, basically. So I feel like this book was like, it's coming to me at the right time. And I have enjoyed reading my 10 pages every day. Now, the 75 Hard Challenge, we started it on Monday, which was July 15th. And we ended on September 28th. And it is my hope that on September 28th, I feel the same way that I feel right now. What do I think my challenges would be with this? Definitely the weekends. I can do anything Monday through Friday. Monday through Friday, I could literally probably do just about anything I set my mind to, Monday through Friday. It is on the weekend that I'm already kind of mentally preparing myself. I'm like, okay, so Tia, on the weekend, on Saturday and Sunday, you are going to have to get these 2 45-minute workouts in. You could either do that by taking a walk like I have been doing every morning for 45 minutes, and then maybe doing something with my family outside again so that it includes them and I'm not just missing so much on the weekend. Or I would just have to get up early and do my outside like I've been doing, and then come inside and do my inside like I've been doing, and I just won't be able to sleep in, girl. Oh my gosh. Because I feel like sleeping in is important. It's something about sleeping in that I think my body truly benefits from in a way that I really can't explain to anybody. All I can say is growing up, I really never got to sleep in. And so now that I'm at a place again, like my children now are old enough, and at this point in their life, they have been, for lack of a better word, trained to not come wake me up or to not come to me like, boo, I will come to you. And when I come to you, just know mommy's ready. If you wake mommy up, if you come in here unless it's an emergency, right? Unless it's an emergency. But if all is well and everything is normal around here, you wait for mommy to come to you on a Saturday and Sunday. Because mommy needs to sleep in. But with this 75 hard challenge, I'm going to have to get up. And that is the challenge that I see for myself on a Saturday and Sunday. But, I'm sure we'll figure it out. I'm sure I will just have to get up. I'm sure I'm just going to have to get up. But that's really the only challenge that I see for myself. Another part of the 75 hard challenge is no alcohol, which won't be hard for me because if you don't buy it, you can't try it. And then the other part is no cheat meals. And what I'm going to talk to the ladies about in the app is, what do people consider a cheat meal? I don't know that I consider certain things to be a cheat meal. Like if we go out to eat, which is very possible over the next 75 days, because we have just things that we'll have to go out and do. But I'm like, if we go out to eat and I still basically just eat salmon and veggies, or I eat a salad with grilled chicken or whatever, I don't think I consider that to be a cheat meal. I consider that to be me making a healthy choice at a time when I really could be choosing something else, right? So I don't know if I consider that to be a challenge as much as I would just consider it to be annoying. Because y'all know I talk about this all the time. I think that while you're on a fitness journey, you should plan and schedule at least one thing that you really love to eat or you're looking forward to eating, something that you've been craving at least once a week. And I typically do that for myself. Like on Saturday or whatever day we've decided we're going to eat out, I'll have whatever it is that I've been craving, so that, eating all throughout the week doesn't completely take me out. Which is, again, what I love about that food scale, because it has just been a huge epiphany to know that my salad that I thought was really good for me was blowing me out of the water. Even though I was still eating something healthy for dinner, I was still going over my numbers just because my salad had too many things in it. But it was healthy things. It wasn't even bad things. Mind blown. I'm sorry I went back to that, but the two things just reminded me of each other. So we'll see. We'll see how that part of the challenge goes. Again, I don't see it being a challenge. I could just see it getting on my nerves. So we'll see. If you want to join us for the next 75 hard or for the next whatever we decide to do in the app, please stay tuned to either the podcast or look for information on social media, because it really does make me sad when people reach out and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to do it, or send me the information, whatever. And I'm like, ooh, girl, it already started and I can't just go back in there and add people. I have to onboard everybody pretty much within the same time frame. And we have to take into account that women who use the app regularly or who are already members of the app, they kind of get first dibs on all of those spots. So if you're someone who uses the app normally, you're already in there. You just have to say like, yes, Tia, I want to do this so I can add you to the group. Or like, girl, no, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing and I'm just gonna keep tracking my stuff like how I've been tracking it. Either way, but we'll all have to just be a little bit better next time. I'll have to do a better job of like announcing it. And whenever y'all see it, if you want to do it, you just kind of have to jump on it. And I know how that is because you want to think about it. Like, do I want to sign up for something that's going to have me doing something for 75 days? Like, I don't even know I'm going to be in 75 days or what might happen in my life over the next 75 days. So I get that. But, I'll do better next time letting y'all know. So hopefully you'll get time to think about it and then time to give me your yes or no before the challenge actually starts. So let's get into some of the random things that I want to discuss before we let each other go. Number one, we took our annual trip to the beach. It was fabulous. The kids wore me out. We started our mornings at the pool. We ended our evenings at the beach. We were busy all throughout each day. They did mini golf. They went to the escape room. They went to the arcade. We walked to get ice cream. Like if there was a beach activity that you can do, these children did it and it was great. And I came back from that trip very present in my feelings. And I said to myself, Tia, this is why you should never feel bad when you go on those solo vacations without your children, because you thought you were going to be lounging by the pool, reading books, doing this, doing that because your children are older. And really, I did get to do some of that. But for the most part, it was very much so if they were doing it, they wanted me to do it too. And that's fine. I love that for me. I love that they want to do things with me. Oh my gosh, I was so tired by the time we made it back home. But I did get to read This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan while we were on that trip. It was a page turner. You guys, from the moment Soledad, and his name is escaping me in this moment, Judah, or is that her homegirl's husband's name? I don't know. I can't remember. I should have written it down. But from the minute Soledad met that man at the Christmas party, I knew. I said, oh, here we go. I love it. I love the fact that he worked with the husband. If you haven't read this book, please fast forward to the next topic that I'm about to talk about because I'm about to spoil it. I love the fact that he worked at the same company as the husband who was low down and dirty and embezzling money, and he found out about it. It was his job to find out about it. I love the fact that they connected. I love the fact that Kennedy didn't give it all to us right up front, and there was time between them meeting and them having that first passionate first kiss that read like nothing that I've read in a long time. I love the fact that they didn't even get together right away, that it was like that slow buildup that you really like to see on a TV show. And so then when they finally get together, you're like, yes, finally, they are together. I love the fact that his children were on the autism spectrum. I know it's not something that I talk about a lot up here, but I have a child on the autism spectrum, and it was just nice to see a family represented in a book that is a bestseller, no less. So I know a lot of people got introduced or maybe exposed to what life can be like when you have children that are on the autism spectrum. The story of those twins was so spot on and almost identical to a lot of the things that I have experienced as a parent, or a lot of the things that I'm currently trying to problem solve right now, like in my real life, that it was just heartwarming Like, she has a new forever fan in me for including that, and including in a way that was so accurate. Like, it wasn't over the top. It wasn't like she just glazed over it. She really got it right. So if you have never lived with anybody, or you might not know anybody that's on the autism spectrum, but you have read this book and you're wondering how real it possibly could have been. Of course, everybody's experience with knowing somebody or having a family member on the autism spectrum is going to be different, because autism is different for everybody, and how it is with the person that actually is living it. But for me, what she wrote in that book was just so right. Like, I remember when my son didn't talk. People don't get it. Like, I remember when he did not talk. I remember when he was like 18 months old, and like, he would just get very upset about loud noises. And we went through a whole thing for a long time. He wore headphones everywhere he went. Like, I remember when he just wouldn't do certain things. We would take him to the playground. All the other kids would be running around playing, and my child would literally stand in one spot screaming his head off. And this was before he was diagnosed, right? I remember what it was like trying to get him diagnosed. And I remember, like, for his whole life, pretty much until I think it might have been first or second grade. It wasn't until maybe first or second grade that I finally got somebody to give him a proper diagnosis so that I could then get him the assistance that, like, he needed in school. But from about 18 months up until now, like, he still does some form of therapy. And yeah, I just don't think people who don't understand it, they don't get it. So I say all of that to say, when you see, because I have a child with autism, when you see somebody out in the world and they just seem different or quirky, or they just have their ways about them, or like whatever, I'm not saying everybody is neurodivergent, and I'm not saying that everybody has autism, but when you do see somebody that just seems like, and it makes you kind of tilt your head to the side, like, why would that person say that? Or, that's strange. Sometimes people are just strange, but then sometimes they might just not be able to help it. Like, I cannot tell you, now that my son does talk and he says all of the things, because I'm not going to say they, because he came into his language so late, he's still learning, like, what's appropriate to say and what's not, that it's inappropriate, but yeah, buddy, you probably just shouldn't say this. And I was talking to a friend about this last week. But yeah, I'm like, sometimes I have to still teach him, like, ooh, man, maybe that's something you say to mommy once we get in the car, but you don't say that to, like, a person, even though you were genuine in your either line of questioning or what you had to say. Yeah, you just don't say everything that pops into your mind. And so, an example of this is, one day we were in the grocery store at Kroger, and like, you're shopping for produce, and you pick up something and you look at it to see if it's molded, or if it's too soft, or if it's ripe, or like whatever. I picked up a thing of strawberries one day, and I was turning it over and looking at it, and I put it back. Now, my son loves strawberries. It's one of the things that I know I can always get him to eat, which is another thing for him on the spectrum, is how he eats, which he's grown in that, like, exponentially too. We have come such a long way, and maybe one day I can do a whole episode on that, but it's hard for me to talk about him without crying, so I really try not to do it. But so strawberries are like one of his things, right? And so I look at the strawberries and I put them back, and he was like, wait a minute, why aren't you buying the strawberries? And I was like, oh, because they have mold on them. They're not good. Like, whenever you're buying fruit, you have to look at it and make sure it's good before you just buy it. And those weren't good, so I'm going to put them back, and we'll look for them somewhere else. Oh, you guys, when he saw the very next Kroger employee, who happened to be, like, in the produce section, because, we're shopping for all the things, he says, "Excuse me, And so then the woman turns around and she's like, and she sees it's a young child. So she's like, yeah, like, baby, what can I do for you? And he goes, I thought Kroger was fresh for everyone. Because that is Kroger's slogan, like on the commercials. So also with his form of autism, everything is very literal. Like what you say is like, that's what you better mean, or that's what it should mean, right? He asked her, and he's very serious. He's like, I thought Kroger was fresh for everyone. And the lady is looking at him, and then she looks at me because I don't think she even gets where he's getting that from. And so then I step in and I say, oh, yeah, I said, you saw that on a commercial, or you saw, like, you heard that somewhere? And so then he points to some sign that was hanging up in there that said Kroger. And then underneath it said fresh for everyone. And he's like, no, it says it's right there. So then before I can even try to like explain to him like, oh no, that's like a slogan in commercials and advertising, whatever. He says, well, everything in here is not fresh. You have rotten strawberries. You have rotten strawberries over there. My mom picked them up and they had mold on them. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, son. And then I tell the lady, I'm like, you know what, ma'am? Like, it's okay. Like, I have no words, honestly. But he's going to ask you, because in his mind, this is a very literal, like, thing. You say everything is supposed to be fresh. Those were rotten strawberries. Therefore, I'm leaving this store without strawberries. And that's probably one of the things we came for. So Kroger is, in fact, not fresh for everyone. And I'm just letting you know that it's not as fresh as you think it is. So that is an example of something where most people would be like, girl, you better get your kid. Like, you know, your kid shouldn't be questioning me or the freshness of the produce in here. Because I know that lady was probably thinking, I don't care. Like, I clocked in today and I'm trying to do what I need to do until I clock out, right? But I have learned as his mom to, number one, be an advocate for him. Number two, because he did just start talking and connecting dots really well pretty recently. Whenever he is speaking and is making absolute 100% good sense, I just be letting it roll, which I know maybe most adults don't really like that, probably because he is a child. But I'm like, but you have to understand where we came from. And so I'm trying not to get emotional. You would have to understand that most kids his age they probably don't care about Kroger having fresh produce. They're trying to just make it through the grocery shopping trip so they can get back home to whatever they were doing. He is literally taking the world in for what you say it is. So when he sees something that's like off, or it's not right, or if it's something that he feels like we all should be questioning it, he will be like, wait a minute, like he says 99% of the time, he is saying what an adult is probably thinking. It's just that we know to use a filter and not say it. He is learning to use his filter. And I really like that in her book, she addressed that in such a real way. And honestly, having a child on the autism in the way that he is experiencing autism has been one of the biggest, and I don't mean this in a bad way, so please do not write me about this because I will probably just not be nice to you. But having him like as my kid, as someone who loves to laugh, and I have like a really good sense of humor, I feel like having him as my kid has been hands down the biggest blessing because of the comedic relief that comes along with him. Because we'll just be talking about something and he'll be like, blah, 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 blah. And I'll be like, yeah, but it'll be like funny. Whatever he says, it's like, and the way he says it, it's just so funny. To know him is to like be the most blessed. And I'm so glad that I get to be his mom. But I say all that to say her book was so good. I am a forever fan. And if you haven't read that book yet, read it not only because it is a real good romance story. I mean, all the way down to the last page. All the way down to the last page. Right? It's really good, but also because it does give a beautiful insight to what it's like to be a family living with autism. So, yay for that. I also watched the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders doc because, I'm a former cheerleader. I'm a little washed, but I can still 5, 6, 7, 8 with the best of them. So I wanted to watch that documentary because I had seen people talking about it on TikTok because, people were in an uproar about what these girls weren't getting paid and how they were being spoken to and all of this. And I'm going to be very transparent and honest with you guys. I feel as if there was only an uproar about what people were discussing, which equal pay and them getting paid more money. Truly, that can always forever be up for debate. Should they be getting paid more money? Yeah, sure. Yes. Because making more money is always going to be a good thing, especially if you're doing something that you love. If you can get a bag for doing something, take it, especially if they're just giving it away, right? So I'm not saying that they should not get paid more money. That is not what I'm going to focus on with this. What I'm going to choose to focus on with this is I kind of feel like the only reason there was a big deal being made about this documentary, period, is because most of the people that they focused on were not Black or women of color. They focused on the one orthodontist who was beautiful and talented, who was of Indian descent, but she only got a little bit of screen time in like maybe the first and second episode. And then after that, like, she didn't get selected for the team. So then we never saw her after that. But I think everyone was all up in a tizzy because they felt like young white women were being treated poorly. And I don't think that sat right with a lot of people. Clearly, it didn't, because they were all over TikTok in arms about it. And I'm like, guys, a couple things. So let's take a step back. Number one, they are trying out to be cheerleaders and or dancers for a global brand, right? Which means you would have to expect, number one, for them to have a certain level of talent. That's one. So just because you're sitting home watching this on TV and you think everybody is good and talented and beautiful, it doesn't mean that they are going to fit whatever these people are looking for. People didn't like that. They felt like the judges or the coaches or Jerry Jones's daughter was being a little cutthroat with who they selected. But again, I'm like, it's a global brand. They are going to be cutthroat with the people that they select because these women will potentially be on calendars, t-shirts, posters. They will travel overseas and do appearances. Like, them girls be doing stuff. And for that reason, they should be getting paid more, which I think the girls said that they get paid a little something extra when they do a little something extra. But maybe I think one girl's face was like painted on the side of a building downtown in Dallas or something like that. Maybe if you're one of them main girls that they be plastering all over the place, if it's a mural of me on on a building downtown, maybe I should be making a grip because you're using my likeness to like sell tickets to this game. But again, we're not going to focus on that because that is like a no-brainer. Duh, you should be paying them more money. But I really think that that's why people are so upset, because they just, even though they are unaware of it, subconsciously, I'm like, y'all are just not used to that. Seeing them get spoken to in a way that y'all probably feel like is not fair and it's not right. Right? Like, are we all on the same page with this? The one girl, Victoria, who people were like, justice for Victoria. I'm like, yeah, Victoria was talented. Sure, we'll say that Victoria earned her spot on that squad on her own merit. Let's go with that. But what we can also fairly say is that Victoria really wasn't social with the rest of those girls. We can also say that when you know your job is to look a certain way in a costume or in apparel or whatever, because they literally sew it and make it to the dimensions of your body, you probably do got to stay in a certain level of shape for that, right? That is why supermodels and actresses, that's why they train and eat the way that they'll never tell us that they do, because they understand that they are getting paid for what they look like, right? So that was something else people were talking. She was bullied. I'm like, no, she wasn't bullied. She was just kind of reminded, maybe in a not so nice way, but maybe she was just being reminded of what she agreed to do. Now, the other part to this is people who have a passion for something like dance or cheer or whatever you want to call it, probably would dance for the Dallas Cowboys for free. And unless that is a shared passion that you also understand, you probably feel like, no, pay them money and that's what it needs to be. But as someone who does have a passion for a good old 5, 6, 7, 8, like, please, if you told me right now, like, oh, Tia, you could dance for the Atlanta Falcons, or you could be a cheerleader for the Atlanta Falcons, and I felt like the schedule lined up with like my home life, like if all things were perfect and in alignment, I'm not going to lie to you, I would probably go out there and do it for free. I would, because I like being active. I still have that little cheerleader that's down on the inside of me that's always just waiting to pop out and show something. So I would probably do that for free. Not even kidding you. I probably would. And it's just the home games too. Like, please, say less. I'm there. Where's my outfit? What I got to do? What am I agreeing to do when I sign up to do this? And I probably would do it for free. So I think as spectators watching a documentary, we probably do have our feelings about certain things, like they shouldn't be, and you shouldn't be spoken to in a way that's like degrading or just outright nasty. But I feel like I never saw that. I don't feel like I ever saw them just be downright nasty or mean. I think that those women have been doing that job for a long time. I think that they don't take any of it personally. It's just a job and it's business to them. And I think that they try not to get too attached to these women, because they know you could be here one season and one season you might not come back. So we don't even need to get our emotions all tied up into this, because you might not be here. Of course, for some of them, they probably do like really, really love them. But even still, at the end of their 5 years, they're like, okay, well, we had a great time with you these past 5 years. You don't see them hiring nobody to stay on as a choreographer. Like at the end of their 5 years, they tell those girls, now go on, go get married, go have a baby, go be a nurse, go do whatever it is your full-time job is. I don't think that documentary really deserved the blowback that it got. If I'm wrong, somebody tell me, and I will go back and watch it again and look for all of the things y'all said was in there. But watching it, not one time did I say to myself, ooh, that was bad, or ooh, ugh. No, I didn't feel, because that's just the nature of it. And I would imagine that trying out for anything is like that. Trying out for American Ballet Company, or trying out for Broadway, or trying out for anything where you are the thing. You probably do have to be you have to have a certain look, right? Probably. That's what they're looking for. Which brings me to the other side of this, is the one thing that did irritate me with that documentary is I felt like they didn't cover any of the Black girls or any of the women of color. You mean to tell me out of all those episodes, not one woman of color, not one Black girl had a story that would have been interesting? Like, I would have loved to see them follow one of them. And the one Black girl that did get a lot of talking time, she wasn't even on the current squad. Like, she didn't try out. She was a girl from the previous season, who I guess they were kind of trying to show what it was like to no longer be in DCC, and how people's lives are different once they're not in it anymore. But either way, I'm just like, no, there had to be at least one girl that tried out for the current season that y'all could have followed so that we could have seen something, a contrast, just see something different, right? But the girls that they did follow were all like pleasant. There were no villains. Like they were really like stand-up women with like good careers. They seemed to all be nice to each other. Like just very like super sweet girls that you could probably be real friends with in real life. Like, so it wasn't them. It wasn't the girls. The girls weren't doing anything to each other. I think people just took issue with like management, coaches, whatever, and how they communicated with the girls. But I'm like, at the end of the day, that's just what it's like. Like people don't like, what is that? Abby Miller? What's the lady's name that does Dance Moms and she ended up getting in trouble? Her. People didn't like her delivery either and how she spoke to those girls and how she spoke to the parents. But see, that lady was just downright kind of nasty, in my opinion. She was just downright nasty. However, a lot of the girls that were on that show are like professional dancers now. One of them dances for Usher and did the whole Usher residency. And she was like one of his main dancers. One of them, what's her name? Nia, and her mommy was Holly. Nia, I think, just graduated from college. I don't know what she plans to do, like, with the next chapter of her life, but, like, she's doing really well. And then I think that Maddie is, like, a professional dancer. Like, so many of those girls went on to become exactly what they wanted to do. Like, they are living their dream. And could they have gotten to that point in their life without Abby Miller being so mean and vicious? Maybe. But I would also argue as someone who's had to try out for things, that you don't get thick skin and you don't get to the level of understanding that you're not always going to be told positive, nice things without that. So I don't know. It goes both ways. I just kind of feel like that documentary didn't deserve what it got on social media, because at the end of the day, I don't remember anything being as bad as they said it was, outside of the fact that sure, pay them more. But my argument is that when you hear them girls say they would do it for free, they are not lying to you. They would happily probably do it for free as long as it worked with their schedule. We saw a performance video clip of Ciara on social media, and the comments under there just weren't giving. And I don't know when we're going to give Ciara her flowers. I mean, the people that I know always say nice things about Ciara, but like, as a community, why do we keep giving Ciara such a hard time? Because let's face it, Ciara don't have to be doing that stuff no more. In the same vein or the same light as Rihanna, like Rihanna don't have to sing and dance for y'all no more. She really don't. Like, she is a billionaire with a B, and the B stands for billions. She doesn't have to sing at nobody's Super Bowl. Y'all should have been happy to get that. And her performance, in my opinion, there was fire. But like someone like Ciara, as we know, is married to Russell Wilson, who bought her all of the masters to her music. So every time you hear a Ciara song on TV, the radio, in a commercial, like whatever, Ciara is making money off of that. Okay? Not only that, but she is Mrs. Wilson. She is. So I don't think that Ciara is pressed about doing nothing for y'all. So like, again, she's doing that solely because she has the passion to do it, because she likes singing and dancing, and she's a great dancer. She is a great performer. And you ain't gonna like it when I say it, but she's kind of like Janet Jackson. Now, I know Janet Jackson is a legend, and I know we hold her in a certain light because of when she came through, right? And that saves a lot of people. Ooh, are we going to be super honest today? that saves a lot of people. If Janet Jackson, how old do we think Sierra is? Sierra's probably somewhere between 35 and 40, right? She's probably my age, and I'm 40. If Janet Jackson was 38 years old and she had come out along with all the other girls, along with Rihanna and Beyonce and Sierra and like all of that, the two of them would be similar to each other. They make cute songs. They make great songs. You know, an album or two would be good. I mean, we know Janet's discography is deep and it's heavy and it's good. Now, Janet did crank out album after album, and baby, they was good. However, is Janet Jackson like a vocalist? Like when y'all be talking about who is the greatest vocalist of our time and who be singing the house down, y'all don't ever say Janet Jackson. You don't. No, none of us do. I know I don't. I'm going to tell you Aretha Franklin. I'm going to tell you Whitney Houston. I'm going to tell you Mariah Carey. That's who I think of when I think of like those voices that transcend all time and the voices are just beautiful no matter what they're singing. Janet Jackson's name is not in there. And I would say that Sierra's career is similar to that. Minus the fact that maybe album after album maybe hasn't been like a banger, but the songs that she puts out always go commercial. Like they blow up. They be all over social media. They play them in the background on NBA games or WNBA games or like NFL games. Like the songs that she makes, they get used for stuff. So Sierra is laughing at our comments, y'all's comments because it's not mine. She's laughing at those comments all the way to the bank. Because at the end of the day, that girl can dance. She can outdance everybody that leaves a comment under her saying something mean. She can outdance them all. Now her 5, 6, 7, 8 is legendary. That girl is something else. She can definitely sing better than me. And the majority of the people that are leaving those comments under there, she can sing better than a lot of us. So why do people keep playing her like she's really not that girl? Sierra has been it, and she has been it for a long time. She can sing, she can dance, and if Sierra wanted to, Sierra could give some of these supermodel girlies a run for their money. Don't let Sierra hit a catwalk. Don't let her do it, because she's going to look good in the clothes, and she's going to walk it down. So some people need to be glad that she seems to be happy spitting out all those babies with Russell Wilson and cutting a step or two when she decides to do it. Right now, she's on tour with Missy Elliott, and every clip that I see, she's doing some stuff that I know I could never do. So not too much on Sierra. People need to be nice. We need to be nicer to each other. I would like to wrap up today's call by talking about Tyler Perry's most recent production that was released to Amazon. It is number 1 on Amazon Prime right now. It is called Divorce in Black. It stars our good sis Megan Good and Corey Hardrict, which he's an actor. He's been in a lot of different things, but we know him most for being married to Tia Mowry. Well, they're not married anymore. They got divorced. Number 1, I like the fact that Tyler casted 2 people who were just in recent public divorces for this movie. Something about that was really good to me. Number 2, I would like to say that while I am typically not a Tyler Perry movie fan, like the Madea movies are not for me. Like I don't like the Madea movies because they feel like plays, because I know they are plays that got turned into movies or whatever. Those I could really never get behind a Madea movie, except for that first one, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. But after that, it kind of lost its zeal for me. Now his movie, A Family That Prays, with oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to think of their names, but I see their faces. Shame on me. I need to start writing this kind of stuff down. But you know who I'm talking about. Well, Sanaa Lathan is in that movie. Y'all know who I'm talking about, and the names will come to me right before we hang up. But anyway, that is a good movie done by Tyler Perry. This movie is not Madea, but it does it does have some of that same old Tyler Perry mess in it. And I think it's not that this movie is bad, because I saw the reviews online. Some people say it's bad. Some people say they didn't mind it. It's not a bad movie. But I will say what is wrong with the movie is it's just like the others. It's the same Tyler Perry mess. A woman is down bad. She's in a bad relationship. She's getting abused. Like, the man is an awful person. And it's kind of like, when is anybody going to bring back those feel-good black movies of back in the day? Where is Babs? Where's another Friday series? Where's another barbershop series? Where's another girls trip? The Wood, Best Man, right? Love Jones, right? Brown Sugar, right? Woo, Boomerang, literally. Money Can't, well, no, is the name of that movie Money Can't Buy Love? But it's a Wayans movie with Damon Wayans, and the Money Can't Buy You Love, whatever the name of that movie is. All of those things, all of those really good. Shoot, man, I would take a vampire in Brooklyn. Where is the creativity and the storytelling in black movies? Where has it gone? Why are we having such a hard time bringing it back? Think Like a Man, right? Where is that? And I think that's why people keep saying Divorce in Black was a bad movie, because we want to see something like what I just listed out, right? And that's not what you got with Divorce in Black. What you got from Divorce in Black is a Tyler Perry production. And I have spoken with friends about this, and we have all come to the agreement that that is his lane. So that is what he is going to continue to put out. He is going to continue to put out movies where somebody is getting abused, somebody lost their job, somebody is on drugs, somebody's going to jail, kids are getting neglected, somebody is a bad baby daddy, whatever. Like, women are going to continue to get drugged through the mud in his movies. And once you go ahead and accept that, then you can grade the level of the film, as you watch it. Now, I thought Divorce in Black, while I will not say that it was a good movie, I would be lying if I said that it was not entertaining and crazy from the second it came on. When that one, if you haven't seen it, girl, love you so much, and I'll talk to you next time because I don't want to spoil it for you. But for those of us who have seen it, let's talk about it. Because from the second it comes on, when they took that body out of that casket, and then she took her clothes off in church, I said, oh, this is going to be another level of mess that I wasn't prepared for. I was prepared for it to be some Tyler Perry, but I wasn't prepared for it to be this. Corey Hardrick played that role so good that it is almost frightening. It almost makes you wonder how much of that could possibly be him, because I've seen him in interviews and it never gives light, airy, funny vibes, or, it's not like, and I know he's like not young, like he probably is somewhere in his 40s, right? So I'm not saying he's got to be a bubbly personality all the time, but even in the interviews I saw of him for this movie, I'm like, how much of this was a stretch for you? Because I don't know, it seemed too real to me. And truly, just his delivery of his script was so like, oh, for me, that I was just like, oh, they really casted the right one for this. The way he talks to everybody in this movie was just aggressive, it's abrasive, it's violent, it's abusive. When he grabbed that girl's mama in the grocery store, I said, oh, he's got to die. Like, there's no other way for this movie to go. Like, His character has to die. And if he doesn't, then I don't know what to say about any of this. Because once you grab my mama in the grocery store, like there is no other way for you. I'm sorry. That I just have to talk to Jesus about it when I get there. Because what are we doing? Like, that to me was far. You know, I was like, ooh, Tyler, that went a little far. Did he have to be like that with the mama? Did he have to be? His mama in this movie was so far beyond anything that I hope anyone has experienced in real life. But see, like, I chatted with a friend yesterday about this, and we know this movie is bothering us the way that it is because we know it's not out of the realm of possibility. We know that there's some crazy mamas out there who will rile her sons up to do just about anything. If she got them to pick up a dead body out of a casket, she can certainly get them to fight somebody or shoot somebody or like whatever. And that mama never held back. Like, she was 10 toes down, and they was 10 toes down with her. Like, he had crazy brothers who all seemed to be like about that life. And then we have Megan, who seemed like a regular girl. Like, I don't even know how I guess they met as people who grew up in the same town, but I'm not even sure where or how they met, how they ended up even being in the same circles, because she was the complete opposite of him. The girl has a good job down at the bank. I think she tried to show him or give him a different life, and he was just stuck between his mama and this girl who is completely the opposite of his mother, and who comes from a family where she's a PK. She was a preacher's kid. So I don't even know how these two got together, but Megan has a good job down to the bank. She's got a cute little best friend who was amazing. She really, from looking at the movie, didn't deserve, obviously, to be with somebody who was so abusive. He had a drinking problem. Like, the list is long out of the things that was wrong with him. But Megan, in the beginning, to me, didn't seem like, and maybe she was afraid, and maybe that's what we were supposed to take from her character. She was soft-spoken, very much so, like a soft girl, didn't really ever check him on nothing he said or how he talked to her or anything like that. And I think she really wanted their relationship to work. So it wasn't until the end of the movie that and again, it took him putting his hands on her mama for her to be like, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. You gotta go. You gotta go. But before we get to that point in the movie, there is her best friend and the best friend's husband. Now, the best friend, definitely, we like her. We like her because the best friend was saying stuff that Megan, I guess, felt like she couldn't say. The best friend wasn't scared of nobody. Okay. And the best friend was like checking him, calling him out, like, who you talking to? When he came to that bank to tell that girl to sign them papers, and he was all coming down to her job being loud and a mess, and the best friend was like, well, this is not exactly what she said, but she was like, you can't be coming down here doing this. Like, you gotta go. And he was like, man, girl, shut up. And when she said, and y'all know what point of the movie I'm about to get to, when she said Nidgafatj, I said, Tyler got something right. And I'm surprised that it's not a meme yet. I'm surprised that her saying that has not turned into a meme yet. Because when I mean to tell you, I've been saying it to my husband ever since I saw her say it. At the slightest inconvenience, I'll do something like throw an ink pen and be like, I don't give a about this job. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was just delightful. And I enjoyed that little moment from her so much because that was so real. Because at the end of the day, that's how we all feel. Like, you could take this job. I don't care about this job. You coming up here being disrespectful and disruptive, like whatever. And then I love how she just, once he leaves, she just goes back to helping the customers in the bank. She's like, oh, I'm sorry about that. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, is this Atlanta? Where was this filmed at? I think it was. Duh. Yes, it was. Because that's where his studio is. What kind of question was that? See, now that's something where my son would have been like, girl, did you not see the sign on 85? Yes. What do you mean? Did they film that in Atlanta? But yeah, loved her character so much, which brings me to her weak husband. Oh my gosh. And then it made sense at the end of the movie. But all throughout the movie, every time they were like, are you just going to let him say that? You need to go talk to him. And I'm like, y'all would be better off sending a wet noodle, because this man right here is not in him. He's not, it ain't him. You need to pick somebody else. Homeboy that Megan ends up getting with, send him. He's about that life. He will fight. He will get up in somebody's face. Your husband, bestie, is not worth 2 cents. And now we know why, because at the end of the movie, we learned that he was not as faithful to you as he needed to be. So I guess he was saying, like, not too much on my boy, because I don't want my own stuff to come out. But it ends up coming out anyway, because of course it does. Crazy movie. I would say that it was entertaining from start to finish, because you just have to see how it's going to end, because it starts so crazy. And then it's crazy moment after crazy moment, crazy line after crazy line. You just end up sitting through it because you're like, I gotta see what happens. Like, you're watching it to see if he gets dealt with. Like, you watch it just because you want to see him get taken down. That's how awful his character was. And I think for the people who watched the whole thing, that is why we watched the whole thing, because I just had to see him go. Like, I just had to see him go. And he went. And I'm so glad that it was at the hands of Megan. So Tyler is going to keep making them movies. It's nothing we can do about it. Maybe one day somebody will start making movies like the ones we all kind of grew up watching as teenagers and young adults. But until then, I mean, this is what we are stuck with. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's no reason for people not to be making those kind of movies. Because you don't even have to worry about the movies going to the theater anymore. You can literally make them and then sell them to one of these streaming services. So I don't know why people aren't making those really good movies anymore. I don't know. I told a friend that if anybody could do it, I think Issa Rae probably has some really good ideas somewhere tucked away that would make some really good, it would make for some really good black cinema. But, you know, I mean, she gave us Insecure, and I don't think we can keep asking that girl to crank out nothing else. Like, she's already given us a classic that we can watch over and over again if we want to. So maybe we just let Issa rest. But I feel like if anybody could do it, she definitely could. She's really good at the whole relationship, like friendship angle, relationship angle, giving people careers, and not doing it in a way that's over the top either. Because, you know, for a long time when we would be watching our movies, everybody had a good job and everybody had a nice place. And I'm just like, well, where are the regular people that's just like us, that's just out here doing the things we do? And I feel like she would be really good at giving us movies that were relatable. So I don't know. But girl, that's it. I got to go to Kroger where things are sometimes fresh for everyone. I got to go to Kroger because it's Taco Tuesday night. It is also game night. So I got to have the tacos ready before the board game comes out, because when it's done in the other way, people just complain too much. And really, I'm just out here trying to do the best I can do. So glad we got a chance to catch up. If you enjoyed this episode, girl, share the podcast with other people. Rate me, review me, slide into my messages, and let's chat about something that I said. If it ruffled your feathers and you didn't like it, or if it was something that you fully agree with and you want to know that I am not alone, that you're with me. Let's chat about it. Remember, don't compete, don't compare, don't complain. What God has for you is for you. Never knock another woman's hustle. Compliment a woman. Make her day when you are out. Tell her something nice about herself. And I will talk to you on the next episode, girl. Love you, girl. Bye.